What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. I'm Drew Bosley. You can find me on Twitter at ArtisticGamer28, and that's the one, the only, is Scott Savage. You can find him on Twitter at Savage. Scott, what's happening, buddy?
Oh, it's been a long, boring day of doctor's appointments and stuff for me, so I'm ready to get into some much greater news.
That's awesome, because we got a lot to talk about. Before we get there, though, you can catch the show at InsideTheGame.ca podcast services and, of course, TV streaming networks around the globe. Scott, coming up on today's show, well, Phil Spencer lets us know when we can get next-gen consoles, or at least when he thinks, and Apple's profits are much higher than we thought, and Paradox Interactive cancels several unannounced projects. Not good going over there right now. Dude, you ready to get into the world of Xbox?
Yeah. Let's hear what Phil has to say, because we've had an issue finding new consoles for both sides, really.
We have, absolutely have. And Phil continues that with, well, Phil Spencer expects Xbox shortages to extend into 2022. Oh, dude. Well, this comes from Danielle Pardis over at gamesindustry.biz. Speaking to The Wrap, Spencer said that the struggle to manufacture new units goes beyond the chip shortage, which has affected the current generation of Xbox and PlayStation consoles since launch. Quote, I think it's probably too isolated to talk about it just as a chip problem, end quote, Spencer says. He quotes again, when I think about what does it mean to get the parts necessary to build a console today and then get it to the markets where the demand is? There are multiple kind of pinch points in that process. And I think regretfully, it's going to be with us for months and months. Definitely through the end of this calendar year and into the next calendar year. Scott.
Man. Yeah, when it says push to 2022, I'm thinking, okay, well, that's not too far away. But
right?
Months and months, that's not going to be Q1 of next year.
Well, that's just it. Like, are we talking now summer next year? Like, are we that far away? We have to wait. Dude, it almost feels like the next-gen console hasn't even really launched because people just can't get it.
Yeah.
Right? When you think about it.
I was lucky enough to get a Series X, and I don't think I ever would have been able to get a PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've ever heard of, or certainly in memory of, a console launch being so hard to get.
Absolutely. Well, the quote continues as well. The thing that's most disappointing is just the fans' disappointment. He continues, people really want this new generation of consoles. They're good consoles, both from us and the other platform holders, and they want the new functionality. We're working hard to bring them to market, but it's going to be a challenge that we'll work through for quite a while, end quote. Scott, this doesn't sound like it's ending anytime soon. Dude, I really kind of think we're going even past, I think we're going into next holiday looking for these consoles.
Oh man, that's just it's painful. And I know there's kind of a surge to demand when the supply is low. Yeah. These things' value goes through the roof. If you find a PlayStation 5 somewhere and it doesn't belong to somebody else, it's almost like hitting oil at this point.
Yeah. yeah, right. Honestly, right? At that point, it does feel like you've just struck gold in a sense, because what happens is now, dude, before we would line up at like EB Games over here in Canada, which is now changed over to GameStop, which is just
now.
Yeah, but dude, that seems weird. But either way, you get there, you stand in line, and then people rush in and they buy two at a time, and they sell one at double so that they can pay for their other console and basically get a console for nothing, right?
Yeah.
Now you got these bots that go online, dude, and they just buy up everything before anybody else even has a chance. That's
where it becomes, that's where it gets out of the realm of being some sort of a sport and into just straight up cheating. Like, that's not fun. There's no challenge to that. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Doesn't sit well.
No, I don't like it either, man. It's unfortunate because it really restricts us as a generation for the next gen of consoles to get our hands on these things and get into the new functionality. Now, granted, dude, there's a lot of changes moving into next gen consoles. Most notably is the speed in which everything just loads. Load times are just, they're there, but not anywhere near if you go back to Xbox One X, right? Like that generation jump moving forward into the next gen is so significantly faster. Big problem is the hard drive space is just not big enough.
Yeah, they couldn't excel in every category. That would just be too good.
But either way, dude, I love what Xbox has been doing, what they're up to. They're coming up again later on in the show, and we'll talk about that. That is another piece of fantastic, just positivity coming out of Xbox, and that's always good to see. But right now, this shortage is a problem worldwide, and like Nintendo consoles are shortage. We're getting the OLED screen is coming out this week, I believe, as well, and I'm sure they're having significant shortages. What happened in the world of Nintendo, Scott, is that they only would ship out so many, and they would hold them back as a scarcity, so that you go, oh man,
Yes.
there's only like one unit here. I better grab it before someone else comes around, right? Because there's only one left, and there's your, and then that's how Nintendo just kind of goes. That's their marketing plan.
They started doing that about the time of Wii Fit, I think.
Yeah.
Where they were just, people were meleeing each other to get that thing. So Nintendo kind of figured out a new tactic to kind of keep the demand up.
Yeah, but now the tactics have changed because everyone's just short on parts. That's the problem.
That's unfortunate.
Dude, you ready for the next one? Because, wow. Let's talk about what Apple's up to. Apple made more profit from games in 2019 than Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft combined. Can you believe that?
That is insane. Think about those giant companies and how they profit. They must, right? They're still existing, and holy, Apple beat them. How does Apple do that? It might just be only mobile games. Is that how it works?
Well, so
we've talked about that being a giant market that I'm just not. I don't know if I can really quantify it.
Well, it's hard because us as gamers, we're console or PC, right? We're not in that mobile market a lot. We dabble, but we're not there. That's not our hardcore go-to, right? Yeah. For a lot of people, that's exactly where they go, is they go to their phone. And that's what's going on. This comes from Damian McFran over at Nintendo Life. He says, a recent report by the Wall Street Journal puts Nintendo's success into perspective. According to the news outlet, figures released as part of Apple's recent antitrust trial reveal that in 2019, it made more operating profit from games than Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony, and Activision Blizzard combined. Dude, they make some of the biggest games around. Like, holy crap. Are you kidding? You ready for this? The total was a whopping $8.5 billion.
Oh, holy.
Unreal.
That's a massive number. What is the overall value? Everybody put together, it can't be much more than 8.5 billion.
Like, how many microtransactions are going on over there? Where's all those loot crates and loot boxes go?
That's a lot of Fortnite skins.
He says, although it's worth noting that Apple has said that the operating margins discussed during the trial were incorrect, and the figure there is therefore too high. Even when taking that into account, it's clear that Apple is making a tidy sum when it comes to games. From an ironic, when can you consider that the fact that they don't even make games, dude?
Yeah,
they're just an app store, right? But the staggering figure is generated via the 30% cut Apple takes from all digital purchases via the App Store, which is used on millions of devices all over the world, including iPhones, iPads, and laptop computers. Even Nintendo is contributing to that figure, as several of its games, Super Mario Run, Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, and Pokemon Go, are all on the App Store as well. Dude, they all tap in, right? Like, it's just, the mobile market is that big. Dude, I knew it was big. You and I talk about the mobile market and have these staggering numbers we see come in all the time, right? You go into the world of Tencent and then being there with PUBG Mobile. $1 billion, $2 billion.
They're moving Apex over, and how many people they expected to see.
Yep.
Holy giant numbers.
It's huge numbers over there in the world of mobile, and it's funny that I wonder what demographic that is. Do we see any of the hardcore people over there? And when I say hardcore, I mean like people who would typically go to console Are they picking up their
Yeah.
phones as well to play, or their iPads? Dude, I was playing PUBG Mobile for a very, very long time, and I was there day in, day out, and I was grinding out the battle pass, and I would get it every season. And dude, that season comes around quick, right? And then boom, new season. All right, I'm in, and away we go. But I'd also play my console, and a lot on my console. But I'd still tap in, right? And then dude, they got my money. They got some of my money. Some of that 8.5 billion I contributed to. I know I did, right? It's just one of those things like, crap, you guys are making
the rest
way
of the
more.
world came up with another 6 billion to join yours.
Exactly. So that's it's interesting to see how that's working over there. But dude, they're just huge. Mobile market is just its own industry, and it's incredible to see how popular that really is, because you don't have to be into the consoles to just grab your phone and just play something that's just like a time waster. You know, when you used to go to the bank, you stand in line waiting your turn, you grab your phone and you play a game or two. Well, now you're just sitting around just killing some time, you grab your phone, dude, and it's nothing to browse your phone all the time. There's so much on the mobile devices now. It's just endless, and the games are launching each and every day. We could do we could do a whole show just on mobile games.
We definitely could find the content to fill a show for sure.
Yeah. Us finding the time though is a whole other thing. But dude, let's go on to the next topic, because we got some unfortunate news coming out of Paradox. Paradox cancels several unannounced projects amid ongoing company shakeup. Dude, this comes from Daniela Pardis over at gamesindustry.biz. There's been some issues going on with Paradox, and it hasn't been all that good, unfortunately. That's the biggest thing that's come from this. Paradox Interactive has announced it's discontinued several unannounced projects. So we don't even know what they are, but they've canceled them straight out. The Swedish publisher has made the decision in order to refocus resources and expertise onto proven game niches that better meet the company's requirements on returns and risk. Paradox has also noted that the cancellations will impact the firm's Q3 profit tax before taxes by 135. What is MSEK, Scott?
I'm gonna just suspect it's a Swedish currency, but I have not seen that before.
Yeah, that was new to me, dude. Quote, Paradox Interactive was born and raised in strategy and management games, and it's where we have our heart and our mind, and we are passionate about making games that our players can enjoy over a long period of time. This comes from the company's CEO, Frederick. So there's been a refocus over there. Therefore, we have sharpened our pipeline further to ensure that the projects within the highest potential have the resources necessary for the best possible development. We now have a promising game pipeline, and I look forward to sharing these games with our players over the next few years. Scott, years.
Sounds like they're just beginning some of those projects, really, because
absolutely,
otherwise they'd have more to show about it. But they must have had a lot of things going on in the backroom offices already if they're able to cancel all these unknown things. Well, it makes me wonder what kind of things they were working on. Did they try and get into the battle royale space, realize it's too crowded, and then back out? I'm not sure what it would mean.
Well, they do a lot of, but the thing is, they focus on strategy games, right? Or in this case, like city builders. So it's like they have some good genres where I feel like they dominate. I wonder if they try to branch into, like you say, other genres, try to broaden their horizon a little bit, and maybe it just didn't pan out. Last month, the former Paradox CEO, Ebba Youngard, I think that's what we were talking about, Scott, stepped down from the position due to differing views on the company's strategy going forward. Her resignation followed an unsatisfying Q1, in which the firm reported a 44% drop in profit compared to 2020. Dude, that's a huge drop.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious. So it sounds like, dude, like they've scrapped a lot of stuff and basically started over. It's almost like they're starting a new company in a sense, is what I kind of got the impression of.
Well, it's unfortunate for them to just have to reroute what they were gonna do, but at the same time, it could be the measured response that is the right thing to do. We'll never know if all these projects are gone, but it's better than watching them struggle with releases for an extended time and then just fade away. That wouldn't do anybody any good.
No, absolutely not. So at least they had the foresight to go, you know what, this isn't working. Let's cancel whatever this project may have been, and they'll move back into what we already know. The problem is, after a while, Scott, did they just get too comfortable making the same stuff over and over and over again? Like when you become
Oh yeah.
like this is like the artistic challenge, right? When you get into this groove and you make the same thing over and over and over, do you want to branch out? Do you want to try new things? This is why you get EA when they get into EA Originals, right? They do smaller titles because somebody had a brainwave of trying a different experiment and getting into something a little different instead of getting back into Battlefield or the next Madden game or the next whatever else they were working on, right? Where it's a repetitive cycle. After so many years, dude, that gets boring. Like, I can only imagine. I'm going to say it, Call of Duty. Dude, if you make Call of Duty every single year, is that still exciting to you to make that next Call of Duty?
Yeah, it has to fade somewhat. There's no way it could be. I know each time they try and make it bigger and better, but
Sure.
from the people on the inside making those games, do you think it's really bigger or better for them?
I don't know. I'd love to find out, really, honestly. See, like when you go from Last of Us, let's go. Yeah, I just brought it up. Okay, if you worked on Last of Us, right? But you come from Uncharted, then you get into The Last of Us because it's different. Then you get into Last of Us Part 2. Okay, cool. We're going to continue on what we learned from the first one, but we couldn't put into that game. Let's make it better into Part 2 now, and we can add, you know, this feature, that feature, and this other feature that we missed in the first one because we didn't have time, we didn't have the budget, we didn't have the know-how, maybe, and now they do. So that's why you get a sequel. But if you are like Call of Duty, right? Just Call of Duty, Call of Duty, Call of Duty, Call of Duty, and you can even talk about it when it comes into Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed. Dude, how many Assassin's Creed games do we get, right? Even the player base had, at one point, we saw Assassin's Creed fatigue. So we kind of, the whole, like, as the player base themselves, we just kind of teetered off a little bit. And then, but that's when Ubisoft noticed too. So they stopped, right? They took a couple years off. They took a year off. And then they came out with Origins, which was an incredible game. Incredible game.
They made Assassin's Creed Future Present, which is Watch Dogs, and so they kind of transitioned off. But
sure.
In the terms of development, I'm sure that was a whole new project, brand new.
Absolutely. Dude, you take a look at Aiden Pierce, and then you go to Marcus and Watch Dogs 2, and then you go into Watch Dogs Legion, where you can use anybody as your DedSec operator. Like, it's dude, it's incredible. Those games change a lot from 1, 2, and 3. So that's good. But when you get into, and Call of Duty, granted, changes as well. But how many times, like, I'm really curious to talk to somebody over at Treyarch or the others like Sledgehammer to see if, you know, are you still jazzed and that pumped to make the next Call of Duty? Maybe they are, dude. Maybe they're like, you know what, dude, I make one of the best games around, and this is what I want to do. And granted, that's cool. That is absolutely cool. And we thank you for doing those games because we like them too, don't we, Scott?
Oh, we do, yeah. Specifically, as long as you give me a campaign, I'm in.
Dude, I
don't know about that one. That one that didn't have a campaign. I'm not so psyched about that one. But they can't all be winners.
Yeah, dude. Okay, we were just talking about The Last of Us. Let's get back into it because The Last of Us Part 2 joins PlayStation now alongside Fallout 76 and Final Fantasy 8. This comes from Sammy Baker over at Push Square, I believe, because I didn't mark that in there, Scott. My bad. But starting, this goes until January 3rd, apparently, in 2022. You get The Last of Us Part 2. Incredible game.
That's a good get. Yep.
Oh, man. Over on PlayStation Now. So now it's streaming, right? Now you're into the streaming side of PlayStation. You're also going to get Fallout 76, Final Fantasy 8 Remastered, Amnesia Collection. Dude, Desperados 3 is such a cool game. Everybody go check.
Amnesia Collection is a good one too. Oh, if you can handle any of that spooky.
No, I can't. I'm out.
Oh, it's the grandfather to the spooky. It's good.
And then you got Victor Vran Overkill Edition and yet another Zombie Defense HD. So there you go, some additions coming over to the world of PlayStation Now, which is awesome to see. I wonder, there's rumors, dude, of them, you know, tampering and tweaking PlayStation Now. And I'm definitely curious to see what they're up to over at PlayStation about that.
Yeah, well, they need to come up with something we talked about it before, akin to Game Pass. Doesn't have to be exactly the same.
Yep.
Doesn't have to be competing on a one-to-one scale. But yeah, I think this streaming service kind of leaves more to be desired.
Yeah, I think so. I think it does. Scott, one of the latest game stores to open was Epic Games, and they're announcing achievements are coming next week. This is over from Connor Sheridan over at Games Radar.
Oh no, my weakness.
Here we go, buddy. Epic Games achievements are coming next week to add another. What is that, Scott? Another. Yeah, whatever.
Dopamine.
Dopamine. Got me.
It's the feel-good thing in your head.
Man, there it is. Hit to extrusion motivation to your PC gaming. Epic announced the long-awaited arrival of the new feature and how it will work in the post on the official Epic Game Store news page. The first set of games to support the new achievement are a mix of older favorites and new arrivals. Here's a couple to kind of take note of. Rocket League, Scott.
Okay.
Dude, that game is awesome. Hades.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. Pillars of Eternity. Kena. Bridge of Spirits. Working on my review. Just about wrapped that one up. So we'll be talking about that one shortly. Zombie Army 4 and the Alan Wake Remastered.
Well, that is a solid lineup. Only 6 long is what this partial list is telling us.
Sure.
But that's still a good solid lineup.
There's nothing wrong with that at all, dude. So here's how it's going to break down. You ready for this? The basics. Work as you'd expect. Accomplish a certain in-game task and you'll unlock an achievement. Epic is taking a sort of middle ground approach between Xbox achievements and PlayStation trophies by letting developers offer varying XP for each of their game achievements, while also categorizing them into bronze, silver, gold, and platinum tiers.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. Like it doesn't sound like there's an actual standard though, Scott. The only way to earn platinum achievement will be by collecting 1,000 XP in a game. Here's how much each XP tier will be worth. Bronze, 5 to 45 XP. Silver, 50 to 95. Gold, 100 to 200. And platinum, 250 XP. So there you go. I don't know. It's interesting to see.
I wonder if that'll catch on in the same way. We talk about trophies. I don't quite see it, but you do.
I love trophies.
I like achievements, whereas other people just don't. And it'll be interesting to see how people react to this, if it really catches on. I'm an achievement hunter myself, but I've limited myself. Only Xbox achievements. I only have so much time in my life.
Well, that's just it, dude. We do so much in a week now. It's hard for me to actually go on the grind for all that stuff. I remember I spent a month, dude, looking for one feather in Assassin's Creed 2.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. That's hilarious.
So I
did the exact same thing.
So I could get the platinum. Dude, it was so satisfying after that 1 month of looking over and over. I'm like, dude, I could not find it. Couldn't find it anywhere. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh man, there it is. Like, dude, it was right there. Grabbed it and then, oh man, there's nothing like it, Scott. Absolutely nothing like it. But there's also nothing like the games that are coming out today, Scott. Let's go down the list because we got to get through them real fast.
We have Alan Wake Remastered on the PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One X and S, and that's a really cool remaster. If you haven't checked that out, I would recommend it. Now we also have BPM. That means bullets per minute. I like that. That's on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Then we have, this one's a behemoth of a game, Hell Let Loose. And that's on the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5. There is Jet, The Far Shore on PC, PS4, PS5. Rainbow Billy, The Curse of the Leviathan. That's a curious title. That is available on PC, PS4, Xbox One, and the Switch. It does sound like a Switch, doesn't it?
Sure does.
Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania. I've actually looked forward to this one for a while. This is on Switch, Xbox One, Series S and X, PlayStation 4, 5, and PC. And lastly, Wasteland 3, Cult of the Holy Detonation DLC is on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and the PC.
Dude, that game is fantastic. Everybody go check out Wastelands 3. I think you have to go check that out. And if you get a chance, play Hell Let Loose. That's another top tier game, and it's cool that it's made its way over. There's just nothing like Hell Let Loose because there's so many other groups in the military that they all have to work together. But either way, dude, that's a blast. And that is going to wrap up ITG Daily. Everybody, thank you for hanging out with us. And we will all see you tomorrow inside the game. Of course, I'm Drew, that's Scott. Good night, everybody.